The world is watching. The headline flashes across television screens. Israel and Iran exchange direct fire. War erupts in the Middle East. Sirens blare in Tel Aviv and Tehran. Social media explodes with images of rockets streaking through the night sky. Panic and confusion grip families on both sides of the border as the first missiles land. The world holds its breath. In a crowded newsroom, reporters race to verify rumors. The Israeli army confirms a major attack on Iranian military sites in Syria. Iran responds with missile strikes across the Golan Heights. The United States calls for restraint, while European leaders plead for calm. News anchors repeat the question, how did it come to this? For decades, Israel and Iran have fought from the shadows. Tonight, the fight is out in the open. The sense of crisis is real. In homes, shelters, and bunkers, people fear what might come next. The lives of millions are suddenly at risk. Outside the region, world powers scramble to respond. Diplomats frantically call for emergency meetings. But for Israelis and Iranians, the nightmare has already begun. This is the war that many feared, and few thought would ever come. The road to this war has been long and secretive. Israel and Iran did not always see each other as enemies. Before 1979, Iran and Israel even cooperated quietly. But the Iranian Revolution changed everything. The new Islamic Republic called for Israel's destruction. Israel saw Iran as its greatest threat. Over the years, the conflict rarely broke out into open battle. Instead, Israel and Iran fought each other through other countries and secret missions. Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza became battlegrounds for their rivalry. Militias, spies, and hackers carried out attacks far from home. Israeli intelligence agencies launched daring operations against Iranian targets. Iran built networks of allies and armed groups across the Middle East. Each side tried to weaken the other without sparking all-out war. This shadow war shaped the region's politics, economies, and people's lives. Ordinary people rarely knew the full story. But, every few years, an attack or assassination would make headlines. Each time, the risk of a bigger war grew. The world watched, worried that one day the shadows would give way to open conflict. Nothing has fueled tensions more than Iran's nuclear program. For years, Iran insisted its nuclear work was peaceful, but Israel, and much of the world, never believed them. Israeli leaders feared Iran wanted nuclear weapons. They saw this as an existential threat. Israel launched a campaign to slow down or stop Iran's nuclear progress. This campaign was often secret. Israeli spies infiltrated Iran. Cyber attacks, like the infamous Stuxnet virus, damaged Iranian nuclear sites. Scientists linked to Iran's program were assassinated. Israel never officially admitted to these acts, but few doubted who was behind them. Iran responded by building more and deeper facilities. They insisted on their right to nuclear technology. Each attack made them more determined. Each effort to stop them made Israel more anxious. This secret war over nuclear technology was about more than bombs. It was about survival, pride, and power. Both sides believed they were defending their people, but each move brought them closer to disaster. The United States has always played a key role in the Israel-Iran conflict. Washington is Israel's closest ally. For decades, American presidents promised to help Israel stay safe. This support included weapons, money, and secret intelligence. After the Iranian Revolution, the United States saw Iran as a threat. Sanctions hurt Iran's economy. American forces clashed with Iranian-backed groups in Iraq and elsewhere. But sometimes, the United States tried diplomacy. Leaders in Washington hoped to stop Iran's nuclear program with talks, not just threats. The United States often balanced harsh words with careful negotiations. Presidents from both parties worried about a wider war. They pressured both Israel and Iran to avoid open conflict. At times, American military power kept the peace. At other times, it made tensions worse. All sides watched Washington closely. A single decision in the White House could change the fate of millions in the Middle East. Yet, even America's power had its limits. The conflict endured, growing more complex with each passing year. Iran does not fight alone. Over decades it built powerful alliances across the region. The most famous is Hezbollah in Lebanon. Armed and funded by Iran, Hezbollah became one of the world's strongest non-state armies. Its fighters battled Israel in brutal wars. In Gaza, Iran supported another group, Hamas. While their beliefs differ, both share a goal of confronting Israel. These allies receive money, weapons, and training from Iran. In Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, Iran backs militias that fight for its interests. For Israel, these groups are a nightmare. They surround its borders, threaten its citizens, and disrupt its security. Hezbollah's missiles can reach deep into Israeli cities. Hamas launches rockets from Gaza. Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq can strike Israeli targets. This network gives Iran power far beyond its borders. It also makes the conflict harder to solve. Even if Israel and Iran wanted peace, their allies might not agree. The region becomes a chessboard, with every move risking a new crisis. In 2015, diplomacy offered hope. Iran, the United States, and other world powers agreed to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. Iran promised to limit its nuclear work and let inspectors in. In return, painful sanctions were lifted. Supporters called it a victory for peace. But Israel's leaders called it a disaster. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "This deal paves Iran's path to a bomb." Many in Congress agreed. Some of America's allies were also worried. Still, for a few years, the deal held. Then, in 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the deal. Sanctions returned. Iran slowly restarted its nuclear work. Tensions rose again. Hopes for a peaceful solution faded. The nuclear deal showed how fragile diplomacy can be. It also revealed deep mistrust on all sides. Each promise was met with doubt. Each step forward was followed by setbacks. The dream of peace slipped away. "We will not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. Never," said Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's longtime leader. His words echoed through Israeli society. Many Israelis agreed. They saw Iran as their most dangerous enemy. In Iran, leaders told a different story. "We have the right to defend ourselves and our interests," said Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Iranian officials said Israel was the real threat. They pointed to Israeli airstrikes in Syria and support for sanctions. Experts from both sides warned of the dangers. "This shadow war can easily turn into real war," said a former Mossad chief. Iranian analysts worried about more suffering for ordinary people. "The people pay the price for the leaders' choices," one said. "Ordinary voices matter, too." Israelis worry about rockets and kidnappings. Iranians fear sanctions and war. Both want peace, but trust is hard to find. The leaders' decisions shape millions of lives, but so do the hopes and fears of ordinary families. The roots of the conflict run deep. The 1979 Iranian Revolution toppled a United States-backed king. Iran became an Islamic republic. Its leaders called Israel the Little Satan. In Israel, people watched with fear. Old alliances were broken overnight. Wars in Lebanon and Gaza hardened attitudes. In 1982, Israel invaded Lebanon to fight the PLO and later Hezbollah. The fighting killed thousands, including many civilians. In Gaza, wars between Israel and Hamas brought death and destruction. Each side blamed the other. Every broken peace deal increased mistrust. Each round of violence made it harder to talk. Over time, both societies grew used to living with fear. Leaders on both sides found it easier to fight than to compromise. History shapes the present. Old wounds and bitter memories make peace difficult. The past is never really past in the Middle East. It lives on in every speech, every battle, every hope, and every fear. Today, the risks could not be higher. A single mistake could start a war that draws in the whole region. Missiles, drones, and cyber attacks could cause chaos from Tel Aviv to Tehran. The cost in lives, money, and trust would be enormous. Efforts at peace have failed again and again. Each side blames the other for broken promises. Proxy wars and secret missions keep the conflict alive, even when leaders say they want to stop. The region's people are tired, but fear what might come next. Why is peace so hard? The reasons run deep. Old grudges, new weapons, powerful allies, and weak trust all play a part. Leaders fear looking weak. Ordinary people fear losing their homes, or worse. Every new attack makes peace seem further away. But the world cannot afford to give up. The stakes are too high. The future of the Middle East and beyond depends on finding a way out of this deadly cycle. For now though, the war between Israel and Iran seems as unending as ever.